do you think that helped you develop the inner strength that you use now? That you had to rely on yourself, that you had to find and forage and do the rattlesnakes. Did that let you develop that inner strength? Do we all have that within us, and we just don't know how to tap into it?
I think we all have it in us, and I think it's an important thing to understand, because people sometimes, when they read it and then see the crazy things that I've done and accomplished in my life, they're like, well, of course it is, because you went through this stuff and it's tied to that. And yeah, maybe there's a tie-in there, but you don't have to have that life of everything is based on your actions. And so it's just a matter of choices. So you don't have to go through trauma to accomplish or do crazy things, and I say crazy in a good way, but you don't have to have that history. But without a doubt, I mean, I think that it's had an impact on me, right? But at the same time, it's relate this to training. So if we stress ourselves too much, everybody's got a different capacity for response, right? And if we continue to just drive that stress over and over and over again without an opportunity for recovery, that's when stressors became detrimental. Now, without those adaptations, we don't really grow as human beings, which to me is okay. So if we're not challenging ourselves, we're literally dying. Just like if we don't train or are physically active, we're atrophying, the process of dying, right? So that's why we should always be seeking challenges for ourselves. So we're talking the difference between trauma and challenge. And so I don't think that we have to have trauma, but you should never be in a position that you're not challenging yourself. So I relate this to maybe 40 years ago you were a war hero, and then something happens, there's an accident in front of you that takes that hero mentality to jump in, and maybe you don't have it anymore, right? Maybe you just don't have that. Why don't you have that? Well, 40 years has passed, and maybe you've become soft. Maybe you've become soft mentally, just like you can become soft physically. So just because you have something at one time doesn't mean it's always with you. So we need to always be exploring what our limits are. And the only way that we can explore our limits is through taking on those challenges. And I'm getting a little off track here, Ian, from your original question, but it's still tied to the same concepts, because this is why we need to seek those things in our life. Like when you feel like that your gut kind of twisting up in you because you've got, some sort of, that if you have a certain confrontation with a friend or a family member or a boss or a coworker or whatever it is, it's twisted in your gut and you just want to avoid it. You're like, I just don't want to go there. That's the signal for you that this is an opportunity for growth. This is an obstacle in front of you. How can I take this on and come out the other side, right? And it's things like that are going to make you stronger, better version of yourself instead of the avoidance factor. So I use that is a piece, is I call it the gut check, but it's literally listening to your gut, and it can tell you this is something I could go after. Just like you've got an opportunity in front of you. If it's not maybe it's not a difficult conversation. Let's say it's, a business opportunity or a new job offer or something like that. If it doesn't give you some level of anxiety, make that, that stomach twist a little bit. Is it really worth it? Is it something that really excites you? There should be some level of being scared that you've got to take on. So you've got to practice. I call it the practice of living in fear. You've got to have these moments and times in your life. And if you don't, I think that you will get soft. You'll be that hero that is no longer a hero when the opportunity, comes up in front of you, because you're out of practice of facing fears, of challenging yourself, and of overcoming adversity. And there's always those opportunities in our life, and they could be small, they can be big, but it's that should be our driver.